Hantavirus, it's back. I stayed up all night going through all the data, digging up everything about this virus from its earliest outbreak to today, turning it completely upside down. May 2026. On a luxury cruise ship in the Atlantic Ocean, 3 passengers died one after another. The cause of death was identical: massive fluid accumulation in the lungs. The World Health Organization, WHO, urgently issued an epidemic alert. Some countries announced they would refuse the ship to dock. Helicopters hovered over the ship to airlift critically ill patients. But do you think this is a new virus? You're wrong. It has never left. It doesn't rely on droplets, and it doesn't rely on direct contact. It simply hides in a speck of dust you cannot see. Once you inhale it into your lungs, by the time you notice, it's often too late. Many people think hantavirus is just a single virus. They are wrong. It is a large family. There are dozens of known strains globally, and every single one can be fatal. Rodents carry the virus for life, yet they never get sick. The virus hides in the rat's urine, feces, and saliva. Once these excretions dry up, they turn into microscopic, invisible particles floating in the air. You walk by, you breathe, and you are doomed. You weren't bitten by a rat, you didn't touch any animals, you just cleaned a warehouse that hadn't been opened in a long time, or just stayed one night in a mountain cabin, and you are already infected. The moment this virus truly entered the field of modern medicine started with a war. In the 1950s, within the UN forces on the Korean battlefield, a strange disease suddenly appeared. Soldiers suffered from high fevers, kidney failure, and died in large numbers. Military doctors were entirely helpless. The most reasonable guess at the time was biochemical warfare. It wasn't until 1978 that scientists, near the Handan River in South Korea, finally isolated this virus from field mice and officially named it hantavirus. That was the first time humanity gave this killer a name. But an even greater shock was yet to come. In 1993, in New Mexico, USA, a young Navajo man, in his early 20s and physically fit, suddenly collapsed with acute respiratory failure and died. A few days later, his fiancée, on her way to attend his funeral, also collapsed. The cause of death was exactly the same: her lungs were full of fluid. The CDC was completely panicked. A large number of epidemiologists flooded the area and finally locked onto the culprit. An El Niño rainfall event had caused the deer-mouse population to explode. Rat feces were everywhere, and people were breathing in the aerosols formed by these dried droppings. Scientists confirmed a brand new virus, naming it the Sin Nombre virus, nameless virus. Because it was so terrifying, they didn't even know what to call it. That year, there were 48 confirmed cases nationwide, with 27 deaths, a mortality rate of 56%. The whole country was shocked. However, 1993 was just the beginning. In 1995, scientists in southern Argentina isolated a completely new strain from the body of a deceased patient, naming it the Andes virus. Behind this name lay the biggest secret of the entire hantavirus family. In 1996, in the nearby small town of El Bolsón, an outbreak of 16 infections occurred. When epidemiologists reviewed the patients' contact histories, they found an anomaly that made them double-check repeatedly. Several patients had absolutely zero contact with any rodents. The only possible explanation was human-to-human transmission. This was the first time in the history of hantaviruses. With all other hantaviruses, once a human is infected, the virus hits a dead end, it cannot continue to spread. But the Andes virus broke this ironclad rule. This is the reason why, in 2018, a birthday party turned into an absolute nightmare. Deep in Patagonia, Argentina, in Epuen, a small village of only 2,000 people, an ordinary birthday gathering was attended by nearly 100 guests. A 68-year-old man, who just felt a little feverish at the time, assumed it was a minor cold and showed up anyway. He stayed among the crowd for 90 minutes and then left. It was exactly those 90 minutes that subsequently caused 11 deaths. The transmission window of the Andes virus is extremely stealthy. It occurs precisely during that brief first day of the fever. The patients themselves feel nothing significantly wrong, thinking it's just a common cold. But by this time, the virus is already abundantly present in their respiratory secretions. You stand close, you talk, you breathe, and the virus enters your body. So what happens after it enters the human body? After infection, you might feel absolutely nothing for up to 3 weeks. The incubation period is 7 to 39 days, averaging 18 days. When the symptoms finally appear, it starts with a fever, fatigue, and muscle aches, exactly like the regular flu. Many people completely dismiss it. But for about 60% of infected individuals, this is only the prelude. Within the next few hours, the blood vessels in the lungs suddenly leak massive amounts of fluid. The alveoli are flooded with liquid. You begin to drown from the inside. Blood pressure plummets, and heart failure ensues. The entire deterioration process can happen incredibly fast, within just a few hours. And the younger you are, the healthier you are, and the stronger your immune system is, the more violent the reaction tends to be. What destroys you is not just the virus itself, but your own immune system going into deadly overdrive. The mortality rate of the Andes virus can reach 30% to 40%. There are no specific antiviral drugs. There are no vaccines. All that doctors can do is put you on a ventilator, provide oxygen, and wait. This brings us back to May 2026, to that cruise ship. The MV Hantavirus, a Dutch-flagged cruise ship, had previously docked around the Patagonia region of South America. That area is precisely the core epidemic zone of the Andes virus, the habitat of the long-tailed pygmy rice rat. When passengers were sightseeing on shore, they may have completely unknowingly inhaled contaminated dust. The enclosed cabins of the ship then provided the perfect conditions for the virus to spread. Investigators are still verifying whether human-to-human transmission occurred on board. If confirmed, this will be the first time on record that interpersonal transmission of the Andes virus has occurred on an international vessel. The World Health Organization, WHO, has already designated the Andes virus as an emerging pathogen with the potential for a major international public health crisis. The mortality rate can reach 40%. Hantavirus has never disappeared. It's just not famous enough. Warmer winters allow rodents to survive longer. Extreme rainfall drives infected rodent populations into human settlements. Every shift in the climate is closing the distance between humans and the virus. It hides in the corners of abandoned warehouses, concealed in the floor crevices of mountain cabins, and lurking in that handful of old dust you just stirred up. In 1993, a Navajo couple unveiled its true face. In 2018, an old man's low-grade fever meant 11 people never went home. In 2026, it appeared on a luxury cruise ship, appeared in the WHO's emergency alerts, and appeared in this very video you are scrolling through.